Hello, Akshay. Akshay heads digital marketing at Google, and today he is with us on this session. So we feel so very grateful to have him with us. Thank you. Welcome to Digital Scholar, Akshay, and very happy Digital Marketing Day. So, Akshay, I'm gonna shoot some questions to you, and are you ready for the same? Shall we get started?
Yeah, absolutely. Just a small clarification. I don't head digital for overall Google.
Sorry.
I technically work in YouTube. So yeah, so I think context is important because Google is a very wide organization. So I don't want people to. So yeah, so Google has multiple charters. So I specifically work in the YouTube org, and within YouTube, I'm working on specific projects. Yeah, so I head digital.
Lovely. Lovely. Cool. So, a quick question for you right now. You also work with Mintra in the past.
I work.
From a performance marketing perspective, top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, how do you redefine this journey of a customer in 2023? What changes? What landscape changes in 2023?
So actually, very interesting thing. Actually, the landscape has already changed. I don't think we need to wait for 2023 for see the changes, right? So what used to happen on search is largely getting transported to video, right?
Right.
There was a time when TikTok kind of entered the market, and then we saw large boom, short video formatting ads, right? Um, I hope a lot of people won't find it surprising if I tell you a lot of Shopee content and Shopee searches today happen on platforms like YouTube, right? And if TikTok would have been around, then similar kind of search volume, would happen there. So essentially, 5 years or 4 years ago, what people used to discover via search is today getting discovered via video content platforms, and YouTube obviously is one of them. Instagram is one of them. So how, as a marketer, we are looking at mid funnel, upper funnel, and lower funnel, that is largely getting redefined, right? So if you're an organization, or if you are a brand, or if you are a startup which is just focusing on search, and you feel that, oh, I just need to capture on search, and not looking at where consumers are basically moving, because the landscape or the media consumption pattern for consumers is changing, then you are really missing out on, um, I would say, while it may sound cliche, Gen Z audiences, because they don't believe in ads. They watch content creators on multiple platforms, and that's how the upper funnel and mid funnel, lower funnel is going to be. So search to video, I mean, that is one way to look at it. So if you're a brand which is good in content generation, especially short form content, um, that would be probably one third, and at some point maybe one half of your upper funnel traffic.
Awesome. That's a good point there, Akshay. Akshay, what are some of the five key important aspects that you see is important when somebody's creating videos for advertisement, especially for YouTube? Because a lot of people just don't know how to get that right. So what would you recommend for the same?
See, it's a 30-minute answer, but I'll try and concise it as best as possible.
Sure.
First is utilize the vertical format instead of going horizontal. But today, I mean, I sometimes cringe when I see a lot of ads being horizontal. So I have two phones with you. So this is an Apple, and then this is how most of the Android phones today look, right? So
Right.
YouTube had launched this vertical immersive format all the way back in 2019 or 18. The difference in click-through rate between a vertical and a horizontal video is sometimes to the tune of 40 to 50%. 30 to
Right.
50%, right? So obviously go vertical, because as a consumer, anything which is vertical, which completely takes away the real estate of your phone, is more immersive, and then you have better chances of basically getting a click, right? And
Lovely.
and landing up your message. Because we are specifically talking YouTube, I'm assuming a lot of ads that we will create and will run will be on review. So have a logo of your brand company, um, right from frame one. You don't have to wait for your logo to pop up, especially if you're not a very known brand or you're trying to start out. So these two are, I think, basic 101s. Sometimes a great ad, you recall a great ad because the jingle is so catchy, but the advertiser basically puts the logo in the last frame, and it's not a logo that you are able to recall, or a name that you're able to recall. So very, very basic common sense. if you and so getting a creative cracked on you on digital, if you get a great production house and great storytelling arc, great. But if it is not, then really think what is the core one message that you want to land from your video, right? 10 seconds is too short a frame to land three different messages.
Right.
Uh, if you want to say that come to me because I have everything, then in just one video just say that. If you want to say come to me because I am also cheaper, then create a video which says you are cheaper. If you want to say people come to me because everybody loves me, then say that, right? So instead of doing one video with three different you know messages in the same video, will always end up having lesser impact, and it's better to basically have three different videos, right? And everything can be same, it's just that the final message can be different. So think 10 seconds, it's a very short window to capture audiences. And also because if you have more videos, you will understand which messages are working for your audiences, right?
Right. Akshay, you can go longer on this because I think it's a very interesting topic. There's a lot to learn. So you can take your 10 minutes for this topic. I'm not going to shoot you another question because I think this is a very interesting one to take. Please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, these are basics, right? And when you also go to I mean, see, YouTube is one such example. You might want to do an Instagram reel. So go and figure out what is working in Instagram, what is the best Instagram ad that you see, right? What exactly worked? Is a certain format. So sometimes people will do a black background and your button will also, and YouTube is a black CTA, right? Your skip now is black, right? So be intelligent about it. Shoot in a certain way. Your storytelling arc needs to be, your most important message needs to land up in the first 3 to 5 seconds, right? It's some years ago, Gillette had an ad where basically the frame started with Gillette's logo, and then you could hit a point where people could skip. So even before you would skip, you already had seen a Gillette's logo, right?
Right. So you're trying to say that in the first 3 to 5 seconds, communicate what they can communicate. For example, you think of a thyroid, think thyroid care, right? Like they just communicate that and it just
yeah something like that, right? So for example, if you are a brand which basically is gonna help me communicate well, let's say you're a brand which basically is into a tech space, and you basically are targeting professionals who come, let's say you help people increase their presentation skills, right? Now what is the core most important message that you want to say? Land that message upfront, and then maybe you can do the storytelling. If you get fixated on storytelling and your messages are basically coming after the skip now option, or if your video is, let's say, 30-second video and your messages basically, or your core message is coming after the first 30% of your video, then mostly people will not see that video, right? Because typically the view through rates, right, which is first 10 seconds of your video, is not more than 30-40% in India as a benchmark, right? Which means out of 100 folks, 60 people will never see your video content beyond the first 30%, right? If it is a 10-second video, we are talking about 3 seconds. If it's a 15-second video, then we are talking about 4 to 5 seconds, right? So that's how competitive and how shorter the
attention span. Cool.
We can do a lot, but yeah, I think these are the overarching.
Really cool points. Vertical format, logo of your brand from the frame one, so that people don't have to wait till the end and they may just skip and they leave. Code one message in one video instead of talking about everything. That's some really great points to take. Best ads format. So learn from what. Yes.
Code one message if you're doing shorter videos. If you're doing a 30-second video, then obviously you can fit one.
Perfect.
Typically, a lot of brands, what they will do a master launch, which will be specifically about 20 to 30 seconds. And then the 30-second video gets cut down into shorter 10 to 15 seconds for YT and about 10 to 12 seconds for Insta, right? And those shorter ones are basically one message per video.
Awesome. And some storytelling adaptation, but communicate whatever you have to communicate in the first 3 to 5 seconds of the advertisement. So some great key insights from Akshay on this. Akshay, I'll ask you one more question on this front right now. And the question is, when it comes to programmatic buying, which is the talk of the town, right? What's your take? Like, what tool would you recommend, or how would you recommend to a company to go about programmatic buying in 2023? So what's the trend you see in advertising? It can also be an answer on the lines of what advertising trends do you see in 2023? So some quick answers there.
Yeah. Uh, See, I'll do a plugin. I'm gonna work with Google. So I'll say go for DV360, but there are the other platforms. So, but see, before I joined Google, I see while I'm still an advertiser, I'm still a marketer.
Right.
I still am responsible for hitting my marketing KPIs, but for a very long time, I was working with multiple platforms, Myntra, Tata Click, and before that, Vodafone Hire. So as an advertiser, I've been DV360, and now it is called DV360. Earlier it was something else. So it was my platform of choice to buy programmatic media. But then obviously there are multiple third party platforms also. Um, but if you are looking to build a unified reach and frequency, where this answer can go slightly technical. If you're buying a lot of impact properties, right? If you're buying Hotstar, if you're buying OTT platforms, if you're buying certain impact publishers, right? For example, Daily Hunt, then you should essentially go for platforms which can give you deduplicated reach and deduplicated frequency, right?
Right. Right.
Because let's say if Hotstar gives you 30% of your audiences, then ideally you should not reach out to those audiences on either platform.
Right.
Right? You should either you can do a frequency cap, or you still might want to reach out, but then logically, okay, this 30% I'm reaching out with a double frequency, right? So there's a very nuanced views as a marketer, especially when your marketing dollars go beyond a certain point, because every penny that basically you save actually gives you a lot of incremental returns, right? So go for platforms where you can build unified reach and frequency, and DV actually is a great platform to do that. Outside of that, there are many others. Um, Within DV also specifically, there is a whole GME stack, which is called Google Marketing Platform. You can invest into um, you know uh, platforms which give you much more insights than a simple reach and frequency curve, right? So for example, if you for example install and work with Google Teams, right, and do ads data hub integration, so you can say, hey, what was my mail metro reach and frequency versus mail non-metro reach and frequency? And if you're a brand for which this is important, then this becomes a very big importance, right? So for example, I could be a brand which is very heavy with for example, in Myntra, we were a brand which was basically pretty affine with metro audiences, but we wanted to win tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 customers, right? So having a unique view of each geo cohort was equally important than just saying that India mein mera itna reach and itna frequency, right? So as a marketer, you are able to think differently. You have to localize your problems and look for solutions. My advice to people, I don't know what is the general uh, expertise in the group, but if you have a problem statement, the only way you will be able to get an answer is when you ask 10 different people.
Right.
Unfortunate truth in India is that digital is so oversold, and everybody's an expert. People don't know because it's a very, trust me, it's very diverse. An SEO experience 10 years, and a programmatic experience of 10 years, and a search experience of 10 years, and a video experience, it's very diverse. So you should figure out people who know, and then ask them the right questions. Not one person will always have all the answers. So that's biggest takeaway that I want to give away to this group.
All right, Akshay, I think some really interesting insights. What was your, people are listening to us right now. I'm just opening this chat. What was your biggest takeaway from today's session? So what was that one thing that you would take away from Akshay's session? Share that in the chat today. Put that in the chat right now. Bring that energy, all of you. It's about video. Yes. Have multiple mentors, right? Yes. Present, lovely. Bring that up, vertical format. So yes. All right. I think that was my last question for you, Akshay. Thank you for taking your time out and doing this session with us. I would definitely want to have a longer podcast with you on one of the intense most subjects. But the whole idea of you accepting a request and being here, I pay my gratitude from bottom of my heart for being part of this session.